one of the internals that we're working on in this round is the development of design ideas. Now, it's in the cryptic message of this is development. Now, if I can explain development to you, is the best way to explain it is to so we can define development as coming up with critical questions about your design or things to solve. So another way to think of it, if you are an architect or interior decorator or a landscape designer, you're going to go to your client and tell them, this is the roof options that I've got for the house that you want to build. So A, B, C, D, and E. And the client will say A, and you might say to the client, that's a good choice, but I think in this area we're going to build, maybe that choice of roof will be better. So it's, you're looking at different ideas or exploring different ideas. To come up with the best so you're going to look at different ideas to come up with the best idea. I want to see, like, for instance, we divided our barbecue in the top and the bottom and a grill and hinges. I want to see at least 2 or 3 hinges that you looked at. I want to see 2, so we'll bring, in brackets here, we'll bring it 2 to 3 hinges, maybe for the lid. And then you choose the best one. Okay, then maybe 2 to 3 layouts of the grill part. And then you choose the best one. So, if you show me this is my barbecue, it's good. You've come up with a solution, but you haven't developed it. Okay, it's exploring a little bit of ideas. Now, this is just still functional stuff, and then the size or the measurement. Remember, we said at the start it should fit in a car's boot. It should be easy to carry around. So I think the exemplar that we've got there is a good base to base your size on. Okay, you don't have to use that shape, but if you think of a car's boot is not extremely large. And if you've got, like, say, a hatchback and you've got a chili bin, maybe a picnic blanket, maybe 2 camp chairs, and your barbecue at the back, you need to have it so that everything will fit in there. So size is quite important, and you guys should justify most of your decisions. Okay, what I like about that one of us, the hinges are not an external part. The hinges were casted with the lid and the bottom. There's just a little kind of a shaft that goes through both sides, and that creates the hinge. So it, out of a manufacturing point of view, that makes it easy. So manufacturing is quite important. You need to look at how it's going to be built or how it's going to be put together, and that will help your SolidWorks drawing. Because we're not going to just draw the whole thing as one. We're going to draw the bottom, the top, the legs, all the parts separately, and then assemble it like a real life situation. So you have to think of manufacturing, and then you have to think of the environment that it's going to be used in. Okay, so mainly on grass or so don't make the legs of something that can rust or get damaged in the grass. So the environment that you're going to use it in. And you also have to think of sustainable materials, because that's the new thing. Suddenly we realized we have to look after this beautiful planet we live on. So you can't use materials that's going to damage the earth. But aluminium can be sustainable because it's going to last so long. It's not very green when they manufacture it, but because it's a material that will last a long time, that makes it sustainable. Okay, because I think that one, the example that I've shown you guys, is over 10 years old and it still lasts. But if you make it out of maybe a thin steel that's powder coated and gets rust in, you'll have to replace it. And unfortunately, we live in a throwaway society where people just throw stuff away. So if you can make maybe parts replaceable, that will give you a bit of a another part of your sustainable idea. Because say the burner breaks after a certain time because of all the heat, you can just replace the burner. If the grill rust, like that one's rusted, you can just go and buy a new grill. So you have to think of replaceable parts. Then that's the development, that's the one standard, that's 6 credits internal. Okay, so I assess that. There's going to be, at the end of this term, I'm going to start giving you guys feedback on maybe over the Easter break. I'll look at the work, and that last week, 2 weeks, I'll give you feedback and you can make changes. But please, guys, in DVC, don't think if you got it achieved and you wanted the merit, you have to throw your assignment away and start from scratch. Sometimes you just need to add a few pages to hit those points. Okay, so it's not like an essay. It's not written really good that you have to go and write the whole essay over. Just, I'm going to give you feedback. You leave the work that you've done, but you just add the stuff to get it to that point where you want it. So, and another, just one last thing here is, I've given you those sentence enablers. So you have to justify, or you have to have annotations. So annotations is, I like this legs, it's strong. I think this pattern gives it a bit of aesthetics. I chose wood for the handle because wood doesn't conduct the heat. And I want to see some of your opinions as well. You could say, I like this design because, and then you can give your justification for that. You're the designer, you have to sell your idea to me. So a lot of us don't write, but you've got the stuff in here. I'm not going to assess it like an English essay, spelling and checking all the, like your grammar is correct and all that stuff. As long as you've put there what the sketch can't communicate, I'm all happy with the annotations. And just throw in a little bit of aesthetics and function words like pattern, rhythm, durability, user-friendliness, safe, and stuff like that. Just through your writing, you could say, I'll show you guys, this is just still a copy, but yeah, I've just started looking at my initial ideas and I wrote there, this design looks functional, but it's a bit boring, it lacks aesthetics. And then this design looks similar to the first idea, so I probably don't like that. I like this one. It looks like the guy looked at the X when this design was initiated. It looks functional and has got a bit of aesthetics, but not a lot yet. And then that one, the design looks good. I like the fact that the curved shape developed into the handle. So it's kind of that shape of the lid just developed into the handle. Maybe I'll have a little space there. So I have a look, and I looked at these just to get those ideas. Okay, that's development of design ideas. That's our one internal. Then the next internal is rendering. Maybe we'll do the 2 internals today and then the externals in the next session because I'm going over my time already. So rendering, if you have got your barbecue, when we've done the SolidWorks drawing of it, you're going to print out the pictorial of your SolidWorks drawing and you're going to render that. And that's 3 credits, internal. For both of these, you'll have 2 shots because in this assignment, you can we can try and get that development standard plus the architectural assignment. We're going to look at that. The rendering as well, you can render this one so you get a merit and you don't want to have a merit on your record of learning, you want the excellence, you're going to resubmit it in the next assignment. So you've got 2 goes at both of these, 2 sits. Now rendering, it's simple. Designers use rendering as a communication tool to show materials, surface properties, and how the end product will look. Now, if you've got a light source, you show your shadow kind of good, and you've got surface properties of materials. So say it's got a reflection there. So light source and shadow. And I want you guys to start practicing this in your concepts and development. And surface properties. That's, if you do that to a good standard, level 1, curriculum level 6, you can get 3 credits. If you identify it, you don't have to identify the light source. The shadow will show that you identify the light source, because you can't have your light source from this side and have your shadow to that side, for instance. It doesn't make sense. You always have to imagine, say this barbecue is standing in a room that's dark, and you've put a flashlight from a certain place on it, where the shadow will be casted on it. Okay, then the surface properties of the materials is stainless steel will be really reflective. A matte color will be really absorbing the color, so there won't be a lot of reflection. If you've got a, say maybe there's a part that's indented, although your light source comes from there, maybe this side will be casted. Or if you've got a ellipse shape hole in the barbecue, that will cast on itself. So you guys have to start, I want you to practice your rendering in your concepts and development, so that if we get to that stage, you are good with that.